Welcome to Clap Back Get the Facts podcast, where we are providing you with the information you need to know about what's politically impacting Black women across the country. In a world filled with mis and disinformation, we provide you with the real. If you're a Black woman, representing Black women, or in the community with Black women, we are here to clap back and give you the facts. Thank you for joining episode 15, the Democratic National Convention, Why It Matters. We will be sharing the facts and dropping the gems. So let's get ready to clap back, get the facts.
Hey, Simone. How are you, girl?
Hey. I'm good. How are you doing?
I am good. Hey, everybody. I am Chantel, and I'm here with Simone, and we are going to clap back and get the facts. So, Simone, tonight we're about to talk about this Democratic convention. So, every political party gathers every 4 years to decide who their party's nominee is going to be for president and vice president of the United States. And so the Democratic National Convention is one of the biggest Dem event in the political world. What they are, why they matter, why you should be paying attention to the convention. And so we're going to take a look at political conventions and discuss this upcoming Democratic National Convention, which is going to be held in Chicago. And so we are ready to clap back and get the facts. So wait a minute. It's time for the convention now. It starts very, very soon. And Simone, are you going?
I might make it, I might pop in a little bit, see what's going on.
You know what? I have never been to a convention, but I'm gonna make it my business to be there. And so while we're deciding about us going, let's talk about why it's important. Because every 4 years the parties gather. And they gather to nominate their candidates for presidency. And the presidential nominee then selects the vice president. This year's conventions are some of the most anticipated. Now, we've already had the Republican convention, and they've gotten their nominee together. They've got, Trump and Vance. They probably sitting at home on the couch watching, this podcast.
They're doing what they can, and it's not much.
They're doing what they can. But you know what? Today we're going to talk about the Democratic National Convention, which starts in less than 2 weeks. It's August the 19th through the 22nd. And so, this is going to be a highly anticipated convention because, a lot of stuff is happening, and a lot of stuff is happening. So we can say that this isn't a typical Democratic convention because, typically, when we talk about what we can expect at the convention, this is where the party does their business. They elect delegates from around the country, and those delegates come in and vote on the nominees. And so they have a formula, all of these different, the delegates are from everywhere. And so they're elected officials, they're regular citizens, they're from the state, their local communities, national level, and they come in to do their party's business. They work on the party platform that the party puts out every 4 years. So for people who are asking about where is the platform, what are the policies, that's put out, that's actually voted on at the convention. And so usually by this time we would have some idea of what that is because, for most political parties, the candidate who the presumptive nominee is usually decided ahead of time. They go through the primaries and the caucuses, and those folks earn delegates through those primaries and caucuses. So you kind of know ahead of time what's going to happen. But let's talk about this convention. How's it going to be different from previous conventions, Sister Simone? What do you know that's happening in these streets?
So I will be there, and I'm excited to share the time and experience with you as well. Can't wait for all of us to hit the ground there. I would say that the thing that makes this convention different, and there's a whole lot that makes it the same, as this is a regular operating business that takes place. But one thing that they've done is really opened up media and open it up to social media content creators. That is probably where you see the largest change in how the story of the convention is told, how people receive the convention and understand what's going on inside of the convention hall. Is that typically it's traditional media's resources and outlets, and this year we have such as the last time we gathered in person for a convention was 2016. 2020 was virtual. I worked on that convention in 2020, and you saw kind of this evolution of a virtual roll call. Those are things that we've maintained through this different circumstances, but precedent. As I said, a lot of things are kind of baking into place, or are very much baked into place on just how they operate. But one of the largest things that stands out is who's going to be our storytellers for this convention, and it's some of everybody.
That's a really great point, because I've been seeing on social media influencers who are
Mhm.
indicating, and just folks, just community folks that are indicating that they have received a special category of media credential, which is an influencer credential. And so I think it looks like with this convention that there's
Well, I think they're calling it content creators.
content create. Okay, come on, get a sister right. It's a content creator, y'all. So we're gonna have content creators telling their stories, because those
Mhm.
stories are really important. You know, I've watched a convention on TV, but I'd never really thought about going to a convention. The first convention I thought about going to was in 2020. And
Mhm.
I was like, I'm going to go. I want to volunteer. And then COVID hit.
Mhm.
So I've actually been waiting for 4 years, because it's been my goal to volunteer, and I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to go and volunteer and in
And
some capacity.
I
So,
think that's where you see so much excitement. I think sometimes people may confuse the excitement around this convention of like, oh, it's because we have a new nominee. Sure, that can play a part in it, but also we haven't had one since 2016. We haven't had one in 8 years.
an
And
in-person one, an in-person one.
in person, yes, an in-person one. Because I'm very much, I worked 2020. I moved to Milwaukee. I did the thing, and so I'm like, we have our own 2020 experience of what that looked like on the ground.
So that's true. That
And
is true.
but for the party to gather and the party to celebrate and the party to just have this opportunity, um, to happily put forth and be proud of what their platform issues, because I think we've seen in midterms and we've seen in all these elections over the last 4 years that things that Democrats have stood for and stand for have
Mhm.
won at the ballot box. And now, we really get a chance to champion some of those wins, talk about them on a large stage with the rest of our party, and have a good time doing it.
Well, and you've alluded to a new nominee. And
Mhm.
so, the Democratic convention has become one of the hottest tickets. I mean, I've got
Yes.
people that I have never heard talk about a convention say, I want to go to the convention. And it's a lot of Black women. So why should Black women care about going to the convention? And what happens at that convention? I mean, what is it that we should be looking to get, because we know that the conventions are where the power players are gathering. you know it's that gathering every 4 years of anybody who's anybody in the political world and the policy world is gathering around that convention. So What is it that Black women should be looking for as we go to those conventions? How do we like use this as an opportunity to further our own policy agenda or coalition building?
Mm-hmm.
Any
I
thoughts
would
around
say,
that?
yeah, absolutely. I would say, I would start with yes, there's a lot of excitement around there being a new nominee. I think that there, in general, has been a lot of excitement around the political process in the most recent years. I think you're seeing higher levels of engagement, just like with the establishment of content creators being a part of the media process for this one. But you also see the way that everyone has their audience and who they can speak to, the engagement with athletes and celebrities. If it's not just them, but it's who they reach, and it's what's the um, people where they find what's important to them. And so when we talk about who's showing up physically at convention, I think, yes, you have the people, obviously party leaders and whatnot, but you
Mm-hmm.
have so many everyday people where, like yourself, you say you never really had interest, but then 2020 you're like, oh, I would love to go. But this one, it's like it's an opportunity to be around a different type of camaraderie, where you get all of these allied groups, you get all these coalitions, you get all these people who are excited about democratic policies, and the platform and whatnot and the democratic agenda, and they now get one space for a week to really celebrate that with each other. So I think when you talk about what Black women should really have their eye on, it's looking at how do we build these synergies when we go back home, because there are people here from all over the country. There are people that we know are showing up with similar values. All the time we shop in grocery stores with people who care about the neighborhood that they live in and whatnot, but they may not share the same particular values. Everybody wants a safe place to live and grow up, but they may not have the same pathway on how to get there. And that's kind of true to how the Democratic Party is. But here, you all are working very much towards that same goal. And that when you go back home, you have a greater community, a larger community for you to tap into to make that community what you want it to be. And so I think what Black women here have the opportunity to look at is, one, finding other Black women that they didn't know may have lived around them, that they are working towards advancing this agenda towards the ballot box, towards November and beyond. And then also, are there different allies? Are there different organizations that you didn't know about that are doing great work that you would love to be a part of, that are looking to also uplift Black women in the work that they do?
That's a really good point, because one of the things that happens at the convention is coalition building and
Mhm.
finding partners and allies, which aren't necessarily the same thing, because sometimes we think about those in the same way. But sometimes you just have people who partner with you around a thing, and allies who really support you in lifting up your issue. And so again, at the convention, each party writes and adopts a new platform. And they
Mhm.
do that in a particular way because they are getting input from a number of their caucuses. And so those caucuses are those different coalitions of people.
Mhm.
And so the Democrats have a long list of who they consider their base and what that group looks like. But they also have a list of the issues, because people talk about, well, how do they decide what issues get
Women.
lifted up? And
Yeah.
it's at this convention, because
Mhm.
at the convention, it is where those groups start lifting up issues, and we're going to focus on this issue, and we're going to focus on this issue. And so if you want your issue kind of at the forefront and the center of what the party is doing, you've got to get in and start building those relationships and those coalitions so your issues can get lifted up, because that's how the party platform is decided, because the party platform is just a series of issues. And so, all of those things are going to be happening at the at this convention. They're going to have caucus meetings. So the women's caucus, I'm trying to think of all of the caucus, the Black caucus.
There's so many, so many. You think of an identity and intersection, and
Oh my gosh.
but that's what makes the party great, is that when we talk about, the issues that we at the forefront and how we bring them forward, and you once again remembering that the Democratic Party is the big umbrella, it's the big tent party, that there's so many identities and people that it covers, that it wants to improve and pass legislation that, improve the quality of life for, and address real everyday issues for folks, that can be difficult when we represent so many people. And so I think that, something that's great about about a place like convention is the fact that you get the opportunity to see all those nuances and to hear those nuances and build community with them.
Right. So, because I'm just taking a look at some of the caucuses that are listed on the website, on the Democratic Party website. And one of the things that I thought is interesting is you mentioned that big tent concept. And, the thing that they talk about on the website is who we serve. And it says that the Democrats are the party of inclusion. Diversity is not our problem, it's our promise. And so it has a listing of the various caucuses, and a number of these caucuses, they don't just exist at the national level, but they exist at the state and local level. So the state party will have caucuses, as well as county committees will have these same caucuses. So they have African Americans, Americans with disability, Asian Americans, and Pacific Islanders, Democrats abroad, ethnic Americans, Latinos, faith, LGBTQ plus, Native, rural, seniors, and retirees, small business community, union members, veterans, women, young people, and students. So these are all of the caucuses that will gather at the convention to do business. And these caucuses will help inform what that party platform is. Also, we've been hearing a lot about the rules, the bylaws. All of these things are passed at the convention. People are put on committees after the convention. And so if you really want to work and have some level of influence, going to the convention will get you there. It may get you appointed to a national committee. And so it's important that we understand how the levers of power work and how the levers of influence work. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go to the convention, but we should understand what role the convention plays in impacting the policy that comes out of a particular party. We saw, the other party have their convention, and, they put forth their platform. And
it sounded like they thought we were still there. It sounded like, I don't know if they thought this was 2012, 2008. I don't know what they thought they were.
I don't. I don't
know where they thought it was going to take them. They obviously are not where the public is today, where the American people are today. We know that they have their own facts and reality.
Yeah.
And
they're I will say, if you read their platform, it's a bit backwards looking, and understand we are not going back. We are going forward.
Who said that?
I don't know, girl. I think I heard that somewhere. Who knows?
Somewhere.
Who knows? It's kind of catchy. It's kind of catchy.
So, it might stick around for a while.
You never know. You never know. And so, learning about this platform, and I think it's important that people understand what the platform is, because essentially that is what the party guidance is. Now, you may have candidates who may not agree with all aspects of the party platform, but understand that that is what the party stands for. And that's on both, that's with every party. So, the Libertarians have a platform. The Green Party has a platform. Every major party, and even the minor parties, third parties, have platforms. And I think it's imperative that people take a look at those platforms and understand what is at the core of the party. And then if you don't see yourself represented in there, is there a way for you to become represented inside of that platform? And so we can all influence the way the political parties operate, but understanding where those mechanisms and triggers are is important to formulating your strategy around moving in another direction. Holly isn't here with us tonight, but one thing that she has always said that we should think about is, parties lag, we lead, and the party often is following us. And so there are going to be things that come out of this platform and get put into the platform that people have been advocating for in their community. So understand that you don't just have to advocate in this particular way. It's a combination of all of those things that help move us in a certain policy direction. People have been advocating for student loan relief for forever. We finally got it.
I think, and that's what I say, I think when people think about what convention is, it's a business meeting of a party.
It is a business meeting.
It's a business meeting of a party, and its goal and output is to walk away with action items and a pathway forward, a strategic plan, whatever term that we want to use that we use today. But that part of it, the output, the intended output, is that platform that Democrats can stand on, stand behind proudly. And I think I just go back that while we're also doing the good and the hard work, that I can't stress enough about the coming togetherness and how important that is to build and to feel that energy of your people around you, and that sense of celebration that we've had it, and we've celebrated from our living rooms, and we've through cameras and whatnot. And so the fact that people really do have the opportunity to come together, to do this business work together, to do the celebration together, and to do it in the Midwest, because I think it's been too many episodes since I've brought up Ohio. So I can't, Ohio has nothing to contribute to this one, but so we'll expand it to the Midwest in this one. But to do it in the Midwest, the weather is beautiful and the city of Chicago is absolutely gorgeous. I think it all just lends in. I love it. The weather has been great. I think the landscape, it paints the perfect landscape for the work that needs to be done in the direction that they're trying to head in, that the party's trying to head in.
Yes, I think this is going to be a really, really interesting convention for a lot of reasons. And I think that given the political landscape, that this is the perfect opportunity for people who've not really paid attention. Because I think people have started to pay more attention. People were watching the rules committees a couple weeks ago, trying to figure out what the rules of the convention are around a whole lot of things. And so I think this is a perfect opportunity for people to really learn more about how the system works, as opposed to what, we kind of think it works. It's a great opportunity to dive in. So here's what we're calling on. So what's our call to action? What's our call to action? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? Here's what we're gonna do, sisterhood. So we want you to clap back and get the facts on the conventions. You know, these conventions have been around. The Democratic Convention has been around, I believe, since 1832. So this ain't new, folks. This ain't new. It really ain't new. And they've had all kinds of drama. So a little drama at a convention is not new either.
It's like a family reunion.
It really is. It's that kind of family reunion. So here's what we want you to do. Here's your call to action. We want you to watch the convention. And we want you to listen for and read the party platform and share it. So share on social media the importance of national conventions, why we need to know about them, why we need to watch them. We need you to talk to your friends, your family, your other networks about the upcoming convention. Encourage them to watch and to learn about it. And then share on social media any local events that pertain to the national convention. I have been seeing some local watch parties being advertised, because it's good to gather in groups, because people will have different perspectives. You will hear, but you can talk about that. And then be ready, always be ready to clap back and share facts on social media about what comes out of this year's national conventions. So making sure that you share and spread information and help build awareness. So anything you got before we close it out, Simone?
Oh, no. If you're in Chicago, we look forward to celebrating and having fun and all the things. Even if you aren't physically inside of the convention space, there's so much to do, so much to experience. And learning facts from everywhere, people on the street, some are here, some are there. You never know what you'll learn.
Well, I for one am excited. You know, you're an old head. You've worked this thing before. You're gonna be
never been
in person.
Like, no.
Okay. Well, this is my first time because I have been looking forward to going. I just wanted to go. I wanted to go. I wanted to learn. Like I said, I didn't get to go 4 years ago. And so I'm really looking forward to this upcoming convention, experiencing it in all of its fullness and richness. And really just learning more, because I'm learning more about conventions. There's always something we can learn. So that's it, y'all. So thank you for joining us on Clap Back, Get the Facts, and make sure that you are sharing all this great information about the convention, learning more about the convention. Share and tweet, post about your favorite moments. Always tag us to let us know, because we might clap back and jump in your facts and start having a conversation with you. So, and then of course, always share our podcast because we're available on all platforms. So with that, hey, we're going to take it home. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us here on Clap Back, Get the Facts podcast. We hope that you're leaving feeling more informed and ready to provide others with the facts. We would love to hear your biggest takeaways from this episode, so post the show on your Instagram story and tag us at Sisters Lead. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, please leave a review so others can get some sense of the facts that we're providing. Finally, if you would like to learn more about local resources and other projects we're working on, go to sistersleadsistersvote.org.